Another beautiful day, dears. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have come with a new topic, that is the second epic poem written by Homer. Homer's The Odyssey. The Odyssey, 8th century BCE. Homer, 850 BCE, 750 BCE. Homer's The Odyssey is an ancient Greek epic that recounts the 10 years voyage of the hero Odysseus as he struggles to return home to Ithaca after the Trojan War, facing divine wrath, mythical creatures, and moral trials. It explores enduring themes of perseverance, intelligence over strength, faithfulness, and the universal longing for home and identity. Date of composition around the 8th century BCE. The genre epic poetry. Verse form dactylic hexameter. Setting of the work is Greece, the seas around the Aegean and Mediterranean, and Ithaca. Main characters: Odysseus, Penelope, Telemachus, Athena, Poseidon, Zazie, Calypso, Polyphemus, and the suitors. Explanation of the title. The title, The Odyssey, derives from Odysseus, the central hero, and signifies both his long voyage home and the metaphorical journey of endurance, identity, and wisdom. The term Odyssey has come to symbolize any adventurous and a transformative journey in a modern language. Inspiration to write. The epic draws from Greek oral traditions, retelling the heroic age following the Trojan War. Homer likely sought to explore not just the glory of war, as he did in the Iliad, but the human struggle to return home, rediscover self, and rebuild order after chaos. The story reflects the Greek admiration for cunning intelligence, that is, metis, over brute strength. Book first, The Gods and Telemachus. The epic poem opens with an invocation to the muse. Athena pleads with Zeus to free Odysseus from Calypso's island, while in Ithaca, Odysseus' son Telemachus suffers under the arrogance of Penelope's suitors. Athena visits him in disguise and inspires him to seek news of his father. Book second, Telemachus prepares for his journey. Telemachus calls an assembly to denounce the suitor's wastefulness, but is mocked. Encouraged by Athena, he secretly prepares for a journey to Pylos and Sparta to learn about his father's fate. Book 3, Telemachus visits Nestor. Telemachus arrives at Pylos, where Nestor, an old friend of Odysseus, welcomes him warmly. Nestor recounts heroes returned from Troy and advises him to visit Menelaus in Sparta for more information. Book 4, Telemachus visits Menelaus and Helen. In Sparta, Menelaus and Helen greeted Telemachus and tell how Odysseus cunningly infiltrated Troy. Menelaus reveals that he learned from the sea god Proteus that Odysseus is alive but trapped on Calypso's island. Meanwhile, the suitors in Ithaca plotted to kill Telemachus upon his return. Book 5, Odysseus and Calypso. Zeus sends Hermes to command Calypso to release Odysseus. Though reluctant, she helps him build a raft. Poseidon, still angry, wrecks the raft, but with Athena's aid, Odysseus reaches the island of the Phaeacians. Book 6, Nausicaa and Odysseus. Odysseus meets Princess Nausicaa, daughter of King Alcinous, when she comes to wash clothes by the river. She is kind and guides him toward the palace where her parents can help him. Book 7, Odysseus at the court of Alcinous. Odysseus is received hospitably by Queen Ate and King Alcinous. He remains anonymous but tells part of his misfortunes. Alcinous promises to send him home safely. Book 8, The Feast and the Games of the Phaeacians. Odysseus attends a grand banquet and Atlantic games in his honor. The bard Demodocus sings of the Trojan War, moving Odysseus to tears, prompting the king to ask his true identity. Book 9, The Arranges begins. The Cyclops. Odysseus begins recounting his journey. He and his men plunder the Cicons, then escapes the Lotus Eaters, who make them forget home. They reach the Cyclops, Polyphemus' cave. Odysseus blinds him to escape, angering Poseidon, Polyphemus' father. Book 10, Aeolus, Laestrygonius, and Circe. Odysseus receives a bag of wind from Aeolus, but his men open it, driving them off course. They next encounter the Laestrygonians, man-eating giants who destroy their ships. Only Odysseus' vessel escapes to Circe's island, where she turns men into pigs before restoring them and hosting them for a year. Book 11, The Underworld, that is Nakia. Following Circe's advice, Odysseus sails to the underworld to consult the prophet Tiresias. He meets the spirits of his mother, Achilles, and others who teach him about mortality and fate. Tiresias warns him not to harm the cattle of Helios. Book 12, The Sirens, Scylla, and Charybdis. Odysseus returns to Circe's island, then sails past the deadly sirens by stopping his crew's ear and binding himself to the mast. He loses 6 men to Scylla, and later, when his crew slaughters Helios' cattle, Zeus destroys their ship. Only Odysseus survives, drifting to Calypso's island. Book 13, Odysseus returns to Ithaca. The Phaeacians escort Odysseus home while he sleeps. He awakens in Ithaca, but he does not recognize it at first. Athena appears, disguises him as a beggar, and guides him to Eumaeus, his loyal swineherd. Book 14, Odysseus and Eumaeus. Odysseus, still in disguise, stays with Eumaeus, who treats him kindly and laments the absence of his master. Odysseus tests his loyalty by inventing tales about his travels. Book 15, Telemachus returns. Athena urges Telemachus to return home from Sparta. He narrowly escapes the suitors' ambush and reaches Eumaeus' hut, where he meets Arceus, who is still in disguise. Book 16, Father and Son Reunited. Athena reveals Arceus' true identity to Telemachus. The father and son are joyfully reunited and plan the suitors' destruction. Book 17, Arceus enters his home. Telemachus goes to the palace and warns his mother of the suitors' plot. Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, enters the palace and is mocked by the suitors and servants. Book 18, The Beggar's Battle. Odysseus fights another beggar named Eris and defeats him. Penelope cleverly distracts the suitors by appearing before them and eliciting gifts. Book 19, Odysseus and Penelope. Odysseus and Penelope converse while she remains unaware of his identity. The nurse, Euryclea, recognizes him by a scar on his leg but keeps the secret. Penelope speaks of a contest using Odysseus' bow. Book 20, The Night Before Revenge. Odysseus and Telemachus prepare for the battle. Omens of justice appear, and Athena strengthens Odysseus' resolve to punish the suitors. Book 21, The Test of the Bow. Penelope declares that she will marry whoever can string Odysseus' great bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. All fail. Odysseus, still disguised, succeeds effortlessly. Book 22, The Slaughter of the Suitors. Odysseus reveals his identity and with Telemachus and 2 loyal servants, kills all the suitors in a fierce battle. Disloyal servants are also punished. Book 23, Reunion with Penelope. Penelope remains cautious and tests Odysseus by mentioning their immovable bed. When he describes it accurately, she embraces him and the two are joyfully reunited. Book 24, Peace Restored. The gods of the suitors reach Hades, where Agamemnon praises Penelope's virtue. In Ithaca, Odysseus reunites with his father Laertes. The families of the slain suitors rise in revolt, but Athena intervenes to restore peace and order. Now let's discuss the major themes in this epic. Homecoming, that is Nostos. The central theme, that is Odysseus longing to return home, symbolizes the universal human desire for belonging and identity. Fate and free will. The gods guide events, but human choices, especially Odysseus' cleverness and pride, shape destiny. Hospitality, that is Xenia. The moral duty of hosts and guests. Good hospitality is rewarded, that is, by Frisians, bad punished. For example, the suitors. Loyalty and faithfulness. Penelope's steadfastness and Eumaeus' service contrast with the betrayal of the disloyal servants. Intelligence versus strength. Odysseus' cunning mind triumphs over brute power. His wisdom represents Greek ideals of intellect, that is called a metis. Identity and recognition. The theme of disguise and a rediscovery, that is, Odysseus must lose and find himself again before reclaiming his identity. Divine justice. Gods, especially Athena and their Poseidon, embody moral balance, rewarding virtue and punishing arrogance. Now let's talk about the main symbols used in this epic. First of all, the sea represents life, unpredictability, suffering, and the soul's passage through trials. Odysseus' bow is a symbol of rightful kingship, strength, and identity. Ithaca, the goal of human striving, peace, and inner fulfillment. Disguises symbolize transformation, humility, and the complexity of truth. Penelope's weaving is a symbol of faith, patience, and a female resilience. Now let's talk of the key arguments and interpretations. Homer redefines heroism. True heroism lies not in conquest, as in the Iliad's theme, but in endurance, wisdom, and return. The poem reflects Greek humanism, showing the balance between mortal effort and a divine will. It also portrays gender and a domestic order, presenting Penelope as a symbol of intellect and a constancy parallel to Odysseus. Current relevance of the work. The Odyssey remains relevant as a metaphor for modern life's journeys, seeking purpose, confronting temptations, and striving for homecoming in emotional or spiritual terms. Its themes of identity, resilience, and moral integrity continue to inspire literature, psychology, and leadership studies. The word Odyssey is now a part of global vocabulary, meaning any long, adventurous, or transformative journey. Some scholars believe the Odyssey may have been composed by a different poet than Homer or by a female poet, that is called the Homeric question. The structure shows early narrative complexity, using flashbacks, multiple perspectives, and parallel plots. For example, Telemachy and a main voyage. Odysseus' journey mirrors the Greek ideal of Sophrosyne, that is self-control and wisdom, after the violent heroism of the Iliad.